What's going on, everybody? This is Seth here, and tonight I am back with another college football prediction video. This time I'll be talking about the Cincinnati Bearcats versus the Nebraska Cornhuskers on a neutral site game, which is kind of weird because it's at Kansas City Chiefs, the Arrowhead Stadium, and Nebraska is in Nebraska, and Cincinnati is in Ohio, and so it's kind of a weird, I guess, regional geographic, just it's weird because it's at Kansas City Chiefs Stadium. But like Cincinnati is in Ohio. Whatever. It's just how it is. So yeah. So as you guys know, I like to make a prediction video with a slideshow. And so if you want to skip this video all the way down to the prediction, the final prediction, which I do have at the end of this video, I'll put a timestamp on this video so you guys don't have to watch every single slide. Or if you want to watch a slide that you have interested in, just click on that, and it'll show up as well. But if you do watch the whole video, thank you very much. You are a beast for just sticking with me and just as I explain this video. So, all right, here we go with the matchup. So last season record for the next slide, Cincinnati went 5-7, 3-6 in the Big 12. Not great for them, I guess. So especially because you're in the Big 12 now, you're not in the American Conference anymore, so you could probably get by in the American Conference, but Cincinnati is actually a pretty good football program. That's why hence they went to the Big 12. All right, Nebraska, hats off to Matt Rule. I mean, even though I can't stand him sometimes because, yes, he was the coach for the Carolina Panthers, and so now he's with Nebraska, but I do hope that he does well with Nebraska because as a Carolina Panthers fan, we all moved on. So it is what it is. And so last year, he had not a great season because they had a lot of close losses, but they haven't had a winning season in 8 years. They were 7-6, 3-6 in the Big Ten, and they won the Pinstripe Bowl against Boston College, who actually had a solid season last year considering it's Boston College. All right, so there you guys have it for the last season record. And I'm going to add something new. I'm going to try to also find some more info of players who are key players that were injured last year that are returning. I'm going to try to do that on the next slide eventually for the next video, but I added last year's strength of schedule just so you guys can see as well. Cincinnati had a 53rd strength of schedule in the nation, but they also had a conference of 65 in the Big 12, which I don't really know if that's accurate. I did look this up on AI, so take it with a grain of salt, even though I looked this up on AI, and I was kind of confused. So this is like a first segment in this video, or my prediction videos that I posted. All right, so you guys can see, if you want to pause this video, as you guys see also, they had an okay non-conference schedule, but they won against Townsend, they lost against Pitt, won against Miami, Ohio, beat Houston, lost to Texas Tech, won against UCF, won against Arizona State, lost to Colorado, lost to West Virginia, lost to Iowa State, and Kansas State lost to lost to Kansas State and then lost to TCU. So they had a lot of losses at the half of the season, and they had an okay first half, but then like the second half they just did not do so well, and that was like the heart of the Big 12 of their schedule. So I don't know how accurate this is, but I tried to do my best to do the research, but I think that that's the correct strength of schedule. But I looked this up on AI. This is like a first time doing this type of segment on my videos. All right, so Nebraska's ranked 85th in the nation as their strength of schedule, but their conference schedule was 31st in the nation, I guess, because you played UTEP, Colorado, and Northern Iowa. Even though Colorado wasn't that bad at all last year, so that was a solid win from them. But they beat UTEP, they beat Colorado, which is their rival. Northern Iowa, FCS school, Illinois, they lost in overtime. Purdue, they won. Rutgers, they won. Indiana, they got killed. Ohio State, they almost beat, but they lost. And then they lost like some close games like Ohio State. They lost to UCLA, which they probably were the favorites in that game. Don't know how they lost that game. They got beat pretty bad against USC. They won against Wisconsin, and of course they lost to Iowa, which that was a weird game because they were winning like 10-3 the whole time, and then like just out of nowhere Iowa scored like a touchdown and field goal to win or something like that. I don't know. It was weird. It was just a weird game. In bowl game, they won against Boston College, the first winning season after 8 years. So this is like a big thing. I guess a big win for them. because they haven't won in 8 years. It was crazy. All right, so last time these two teams only met the first time back in 119 years ago, which is crazy. They first met and only met in 1906, which is wild. Nebraska, when they were in their glory days, they won 41-0, which is a pretty bad result for Cincinnati. So only time that these two teams met, which was 119 years ago, which is crazy to even think about. All these years that these two schools never played against each other, which is wild. So yeah, there you guys have it for the last time these two teams met. All right, so the coaches comparison: Scott Satterfield, great coach in my opinion because I'm an App State fan. Loved him when he coached at App State, and so wish he was still there. But hey, he's making big moves after App State. 2 years so far, not so great with the 8-16 overall, but I think he's also a program builder, just like Matt Rule. So I think that these two coaches will do well for their particular schools. Matt Rule, 2 years, 12-13 at Nebraska, had a winning season finally with Nebraska. So it is what it is with these two coaches. These guys are program builders, and I think they'll be successful with their two current teams, in my opinion. All right, so like I said earlier in the video, location-wise, we got the Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. There you guys have it right there. And so, yeah, there's the location for the neutral site game for Nebraska in Cincinnati. Okay, so players drafted. What? Oh. I don't know why they did that. But anyways, players drafted and signed. We got how many players drafted for this year's draft class for Cincinnati? Only one player got drafted, which is offensive tackle John Williams, 7th round to the Packers. And then the undrafted free agents, we got linebacker Jared Barlett to the Jets. We got guard Luke Condra to the Panthers. Running back Corey Kiner to the 49ers. Wide receiver Jamo, I don't know how to pronounce that first name, Mays. Bengals safety Josh Minkins to the Patriots. D'Artagnan Tinsley to the Browns. So there you guys have it for Cincinnati. And now we have Nebraska. They got 2 players drafted. We got defensive lineman Ty Robinson to the 4th round to the Eagles. Eagles are always just bulking up on the defensive line every year. Tight end Thomas Fedone the 2nd, 7th round to the Giants. And the undrafted free agents, we got wide receiver Isaiah Nair, which I was actually kind of shocked about that one because Isaiah Nair was pretty good, I think, in my opinion. We got offensive lineman Ben Scott to the Bucks, John Bullock to the Bucks, Jamal Banks to the Ravens, Nash Hutmacher to the Ravens, and of course defensive back Isaac Gifford to the Panthers. So yeah, so there you guys have it for the players drafted and signed. Now we go to the transfer portal news. So players transferring out, not too bad for Cincinnati. Only 15 players transferred out. Total players transferred out. And of course, we got wide receiver Tony Johnson to Miami, defensive back Jordan Robinson to Virginia, safety Ken Willis to James Madison, quarterback Brady Dragosh to Grand Valley State, offensive lineman Jonathan Harder to Toledo. I just usually put about 5 players up there just because there's so many players. I don't want to go through all the players just to read them off. All right, so we got Nebraska. We got a lot of players transferring out of Nebraska, which is not so great. 38 players transferring out, which is crazy. We got wide receiver Jaden Doss, who was a big name for them last year. Offensive tackle Grant Segerin to Oklahoma State. We got defensive back Evan Taylor, NA. We got tight end Ian Flint to NC State. We got safety DeAndre Barnes to Utah State. All right, and then we got players transferring into Cincinnati. They got 21 players transferring in, which is pretty good for Scott Satterfield. We got defensive edge rusher Daryl Gibson from Idaho State. Defensive lineman Isaiah Rogers from Monmouth. Tight end Patrick Gerd from Ohio State. Safety Christian Harrison from Tennessee. And we got running back Tawi Walker from Wisconsin. So there you guys have it for Cincinnati. And, of course, we got players transferring in to Nebraska. They had 17 players transfer in. That's not as much as players transferring out, which is kind of crazy. So we got offensive lineman Rocco Splendor from Notre Dame. Offensive lineman Elijah Pritchett from Alabama. Wide receiver Hardley Gilmore the fifth from Kentucky. Defensive back Jameer Khan from Southern Illinois. We got defensive back Marquez Watson Trent from Georgia Southern. I think he was a really good big pickup for Nebraska because he hit a lot of tackles. All right, so we got top 3 offensive players. We also have top 3 defensive players: running back or quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman, linebacker, and of course defensive back. And of course, Cincinnati runs an offensive or multiple offense for their offense. And we've got Brendan Sorsby, who's back with the team. He had 249 completions to 389 attempts, 64.0 completions to completion percentage. He had 2,813 passing yards, averaged about 7.2 per throw, had 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So pretty good for Cincinnati to have a returning quarterback or veteran quarterback. Then we have Tawee Walker, who's a transfer. He had 190 carries, 864 rushing yards, averaged about 4.5 per carry, had 10 touchdowns. So that's a solid pickup in the portal for Cincinnati. Then we have another transfer, Caleb Goody. He had 21 receptions, 436 receiving yards, averaged about 20.8 average per catch. They had 4 touchdowns. So honestly, not bad for pickups in the portal. So it's good to see to have Brandon Sorsby has some key guys coming in for Cincinnati. All right. Then we have the top 3 offensive players for Nebraska. We got a spread offense for Matt Rule's offense. Dylan, a.k.a. Oh, that's why they probably put Nebraska and Cincinnati in Arrowhead Stadium as a joke, basically, for Dylan Raiola. As you guys know, who is the mini Patrick Mahomes or doppelganger who tried to act like Patrick Mahomes, and of course he's wearing number 15. He's actually going to be a solid quarterback, I think, in my opinion, this upcoming season. So Nebraska, they're in good hands with a quarterback for Dylan Raiola, because without him, I think Nebraska would not be 7-6. All right, so he had 275 completions to 410 attempts, from completions to attempts, 67.1%, not bad for a freshman quarterback in a Big Ten. 2,819 passing yards, average about 6.9 per throw, 13 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. So not too great with the touchdowns to interception ratio, but I think that'll change for Dylan Raiola. If Matt Rule's offense will stop being conservative and just be up-tempo and throw the ball more, because I know that Matt Rule likes to run the ball, in my opinion. All right, we got returning Emmett Johnson, who's another key player for Nebraska's offense. He had 117 carries, 598 rushing yards, averaged about 5.1 per carry. He had 1 touchdown. That's crazy. He only had 1 touchdown last year. Then we got Isaiah Hunter, who's a transfer. He had 40 receptions, 578 receiving yards, averaged about 14.4 per catch. He had 5 touchdowns. So 2 solid guys on offense for Nebraska is going to be really helpful for Dylan Raiola. So it's going to be very interesting to see Nebraska this upcoming season. All right, so we got the top 3 defensive players. We got defensive lineman Dante Corleone. He had 26 total tackles. I think he also had like an injury last year that he dealt with. So, but he had 26 total tackles, 14 solo, 5 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, and of course he had 4 QB hits, which I added in to the stat line for the defensive players. And also they do run a multiple defense for Cincinnati. Linebacker Jonathan Thompson, 49 total tackles, 22 solo, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 QB hit, and of course 3 pass deflections. Solid stat line for him. So we got defensive back Jaquan Sanks. He had 42 total tackles, 23 solo, 1 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble, and 1 pass deflection. I need to do also in my next slides which players are returning as a starting defense and offense, and I need to put that in there too in this video. But there you guys have it for Cincinnati. Then we have top 3 defensive players for Nebraska. We got defensive lineman Cameron Linhart. He had 16 total tackles, 7 solo, 3 tackles for loss, 0.5 sacks, 2 QB hits for him. Then we have linebacker Marquez Watson Trent. He got transferred. He got 120 total tackles, really solid. 52 solo, pretty good. 7.5 total TFLs, which is tackles for loss. 1.5 sacks, 2 QB hits, 4 forced fumbles, and 1 pass deflection. That is really impressive for him. He played for Georgia Southern, so that's a good pickup for Nebraska on defense. And lastly, we got defensive back Deshaun Singleton, 71 total tackles, 41 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, and 3 pass deflections. So Nebraska, they're always going to have a good defense. It's just their offense is going to be questionable. But I believe that their defense is going to be really solid this year, as well as their offense too. All right, so total team stats for both teams. We got total team stats for passing yards. Cincinnati was ranked 55th in the nation with averaging about 236.5 passing yards per game. Rushing yards, they averaged about 184.1. They were ranked 36th in the nation. Points for, which is on offense, they were not great at all. 25.2 was ranked 94th in the nation. Points against was 24.6, was ranked 62 in the nation. So there you guys have it for the team stats. Also, total offense, they had 420.6 yards offense, which is not too bad at all, but their defense was their key factor, especially in the Big 12, when all you see is passing. So they allowed total yards allowed every game, which is 384.8, not great. Passing yards allowed, 222.8, not great either. And of course, rushing yards allowed, 162.1. So there you guys have it for Cincinnati. And lastly, we have total team stats for Nebraska. They had 228.4 passing yards, not great because they ran the ball a lot last year. They averaged about 65 in the nation. Rushing yards, not so bad, but not so great either. They were ranked 96th in the nation, which averaged about 130.6. Even though I just said that they were more of a running type team, but I think that this past season they try to pass the ball a lot more with Dylan Raiola. Points for, not great either. They were very low scoring. They were ranked 104th in the nation, which is not bad. Or no, that's terrible. I'm so used to saying not bad, but it's terrible. 104th in the nation on offense, averaging about 23.5 points per game. Now, like I said before, their defense is always going to be there. Defense is good, but when is the offense going to step up, especially in the Big 10? They ranked 17th in the nation, only allowing about 19.5 points per game. Total yards in offense, 359.0 yards in offense. Not bad. Total yards on defense they allowed, not so bad either. 317.9. That's pretty much average for a offense on the opposing team. Passing yards allowed, 216.7, not bad. Rushing yards allowed, 101.2 yards per game, which is not bad at all. So there you guys have it for the team stats for both teams. And then lastly, the final prediction of this video. I know it was a long one, so that's why I'm going to put the timestamps. But I think that I think Nebraska, in my opinion, I think they have a better roster. I think they're going to be more sound. I don't know how well Cincinnati's going to do now this year, but I think that they're going to have a lot of guys back as well as Nebraska. But I feel like Nebraska is better just from the way, because Nebraska is in the Big 10 and they have a tougher schedule than the Big 12, but the Big 12 is also pretty good as well. So they're up there with the Big 10 in my opinion. But I still think that Nebraska is going to win by 14 points, and the score is going to be 34-20. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game until the end of the second half of the game. But let me know what you guys think about this game. I think it's going to be very interesting. I know the score is going to be high because it's a Thursday night game, so I might change that in the future. But I think that it's going to be by 14 points, and Nebraska is going to win, even though Matt Rule does not do well in the spotlight. So we know Matt Rule. But maybe this year will change because it's Matt Rule's third year, and they like to do well in his third years, especially from Temple to Baylor to now Nebraska. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will put a timestamp at the end of this video, and see you guys next time for the next prediction video. All right, guys. Set for here again, and peace out.